Amazon just booked $200 billion in a single quarter. Woof! It is Snowball, and these are the biggest filings of the week. 273 companies filed earnings today alone. Apple and Amazon both beat, and the two went in completely opposite directions. Let us dig. First, the tape. Today was the best day of the month, and one company caused it. The Nasdaq composite jumped 2.78% and snapped a 6-day losing streak. Here is why. Microsoft told everyone last night that its cloud business crossed $100 billion a year and that it is spending less than Wall Street feared to get there. That one line answered the question hanging over this whole market. Is the artificial intelligence build-out paying for itself or quietly eating everybody alive? Chips ripped. Micron, Applied Materials, and Lam Research soared without reporting a thing. Before today, this week already had bodies on the floor. Wednesday, Meta beat on revenue, showed everyone a spending plan of up to $145 billion and fell 8%. Also Wednesday, Lennox cut its full-year forecast and dropped 21%, taking the whole heating and cooling aisle with it. And Tuesday, Corning beat both lines and still lost a fifth of its value because next quarter looked merely fine. Now Amazon, $200 billion of sales in 3 months. That is a first, and it beat Amazon's own forecast. But retail is not why this stock moved. Amazon Web Services, the cloud arm, grew 37%. Wall Street wanted about 31%. That is the fastest that business has grown since 2021, and the exact opposite of the slowdown story people have told for 2 years. Now the fine print, because Snowball reads the fine print. The reported earnings per share figure is not comparable to what analysts expected. It includes a giant paper gain on Amazon's stake in another artificial intelligence company. Ignore it. Next quarter's guide came in light, and the boss raised spending to $220 billion. Did not matter. Shares jumped 9.6% after the bell. Now Apple, same night, opposite ending. Apple set June quarter records on revenue and profit. Revenue up 16%. iPhone sales up almost 22%. Beat. Then the finance chief opened his mouth on the call. Next quarter, gross margin drops to 47 or 48%, down from just over 50. And Tim Cook said supply constraints will hit iPhone, iPad, and Mac, and get worse before they get better. Read that carefully. It is not a factory breaking. That is Apple selling more than it can build. Wonderful problem to have. Terrible thing to say out loud. Apple fell 6.3% after hours. Back to Microsoft, because this number is absurd. Microsoft rose 15.5% today and added roughly $450 billion of market value in one session. That is the largest single-day value gain by any company ever. And here is the strange part. Microsoft did not report today. It reported last night. What you saw today was the whole market repricing around one disclosure, and it was not the revenue line. It was the spending line. When what everybody fears is the cost of artificial intelligence rather than demand for it, spending is the number that moves stocks. And now the funniest thing that happened today. There is a whole complex of companies that build data centers. Quanta Services rose 17%. Emcor rose 19%, the best in the S&P 500. Bloom Energy, which makes power for data centers, rose 26%. Beautiful! Now meet MasTec. MasTec did not report in the morning. It just went up almost 13% all day because it looks like those other guys. Then MasTec actually reported after the close, and earnings landed exactly in line. Exactly! It handed the whole thing back, down almost 17%. The lesson: buying the neighborhood is not the same as buying the house. So what is next? Tomorrow morning belongs to oil. ExxonMobil reports before the open, and it already warned back on July 7th that this quarter would be sharply higher. Analysts want the best oil result in roughly 15 quarters. Chevron reports before the bell too, then AbbVie and Pharma, and Colgate-Palmolive walking into a consumer staples group that fell more than 2% today. After the weekend, Snap and Whirlpool. One quick note, No option chains were priced tonight, so there are no implied moves on the board, just the calendar. Here is the through line for the week. Almost nobody got paid for a good quarter. They got paid for what comes next. Meta, Corning, Apple, and Reddit all beat, and every one of them fell on guidance. Amazon and Microsoft won because the future got cheaper. Next week, oil reports. Hit subscribe, and I will see you next Thursday. Woof!